When the cameras rolled and the lights were bright, Angel didn't rise. She flopped. Hard. And not just metaphorically. We're talking 9 turnovers, multiple missed layups, off-target passes that landed somewhere in the third row, and, oh yeah, a literal flop that had fans wondering she thought she was in a Broadway audition instead of basketball game. This wasn't just a bad game. This was performance art masquerading as elite athleticism. A meltdown in 4 quarters. A masterclass in chaos.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
And the internet? Oh, they ate it up. Let's be clear. Angel Reese is no stranger to the spotlight. She's been branded as that girl, gritty, glamorous, unapologetic, dripping in confidence. She came into the league riding a tidal wave of nil money, college hype, and enough media headlines to make a Kardashian jealous. ESPN can't stop talking about her. Instagram lives for her courtside fits. And the WNBA, they've been subtly and sometimes not so subtly pushing her as the new face of the league. But here's the thing about hype. It's only cute when it matches a performance. And what happened on that court wasn't cute. It was a full-blown clown show. Now look, every player has an off night. Every rookie stumbles. But what we just witnessed, that wasn't a stumble. That was a 48-minute trust fall with no one there to catch her. 9 turnovers. Let that sink in. 9. That's not just nerves or bad luck. That's a fundamental breakdown. It's the kind of stat line that makes coaches want to call a timeout just to cry. The kind that makes teammates start looking anywhere else on the floor when they need a bucket. And what made it worse? The rebounds. Yes, Angel put up double-digit boards. But when you actually watch the film, a lot of those rebounds came off her own missed shots. We're talking 3, 4 attempts in a single possession. Padding the stats without producing points. You know what that is? Stat fishing. It's that sneaky kind of inefficiency where you look productive on the box score, but completely derail your team's flow. And fans? They're catching on. Fast. Because basketball IQ matters. Decision-making matters. Knowing when to pass, when to drive, when to not launch an awkward fadeaway in transition. That matters. And Angel? She's out here playing like she's still in a college highlight reel. Let's talk about that flop. You've seen it by now. The slow motion collapse. The dramatic arms. The delayed reaction that was so fake it made WWE look like a documentary. Fans went savage online. Memes dropped within minutes. One user called it the worst flop in WNBA history. And honestly, hard to argue. You could almost hear the refs rolling their eyes. Now here's where it gets really messy. This wasn't just a bad game. It was a mirror, and what it reflected wasn't flattering. It exposed something deeper about the machine behind Angel Reese. The branding, the marketing, the curated image of a basketball savior wrapped in designer labels and IG filters. Because when the shine fades, all that's left is your game. And right now, the game ain't matching the promo. Let's break it down. Her teammates? They've started adapting around her, and not in a good way. You can see it. The way the ball avoids her in critical moments. The subtle shift in spacing. The hesitation before passing it to the wing. These aren't just tactical adjustments. They're survival instincts. When your own squad starts limiting your touches to minimize the chaos, that's a red flag. And then there's the coaching staff. What exactly is the plan here? Are they protecting her ego or hoping she just figures it out mid-game? Because right now, the game plan looks like throw Angel out there and pray she doesn't implode. Spoiler, she imploded. But the real conversation, the uncomfortable one nobody wanted to have, is about the media. Because the media willed Angel Reese into stardom. They decided she was a future. Before the draft. Before the workouts. Before the stats. They fed fans a narrative of dominance and disruption. Of changing the game and reshaping the culture. And to be fair, that's a compelling story. Angel is magnetic. She's bold. She's marketable. She speaks her mind. But you can't dribble media hype. And when the hype outpaces the fundamentals, you get moments like this. A nationally televised train wreck, where the most talked about rookie becomes a punchline. It's giving cautionary tale. Look, none of this is personal. Angel Reese clearly wants to be great. But the harsh truth is that wanting it doesn't matter if your footwork is sloppy, your passes are late, and your decisions put your team in jeopardy. Confidence without control is just chaos. And Angel, she's deep in her chaotic era. That doesn't mean she's doomed. But it does mean the people around her need to stop shielding her from criticism and start giving her the tough love she clearly needs. Because at some point, the league stops forgiving your rookie mistakes. At some point, your teammates stop nodding politely. At some point, the hype train runs out of gas, and all that's left is your ability to actually play basketball. The problem isn't that Angel Reese is struggling. The problem is that no one seems willing to admit that she is. This is what happens when marketing gets ahead of development, when flash overshadows fundamentals, when we crown players before they've earned it. And make no mistake, Angel Reese still can earn it, but not if she keeps pretending like nothing's wrong. Not if the narrative keeps shielding her from accountability. Not if she keeps prioritizing the moment over mechanics. Because this league, it will humble you fast. Ask any WNBA vet, they'll tell you. The transition from college star to pro is brutal. You can't fake it. You either grow or you get exposed. And Angel, she just got exposed. So where does she go from here? That depends. Is she ready to listen? To grind? To unlearn the bad habits and rebuild from the ground up? Or is she going to double down on the drama? Keep chasing highlight plays and hope the media spin keeps the receipts buried? Because the memes are already here. The whispers have started. And fans, they're not buying the hype anymore. Not unless the game starts backing it up. So what do you think? Is Angel Reese still the future of the WNBA? Or are we watching the early warning signs of a career built more on attention than action? Drop your take in the comments. Who's holding her back? Her coaches, the media, or herself? And make sure you're subscribed. Because if this is how chaotic her rookie season's going, just imagine what's coming next. The spotlight's not going anywhere. But neither is the pressure. The league doesn't care about your Instagram following. It doesn't care how many headlines you've gotten, how viral your college highlights went, or how many brands are lining up to throw you sponsorships. The WNBA is built on results, on grit, on execution. And for all her charisma and bravado, Angel Reese is learning, painfully, publicly, that this ain't Baton Rouge anymore. This is the pros. And here, you either deliver or you get exposed. And right now, she's being exposed in 4K. Let's talk about the mental game, because it's not just her footwork or her decision-making that's crumbling. It's her composure. One missed layup turns into 3. A single turnover snowballs into complete breakdowns in communication. You can see it, feel it in her body language. The hands on the hips. The delayed transition back on defense. The eye rolls when a teammate doesn't throw a perfect pass. That vibe, it trickles down. And it's contagious, just not in the way you'd want. A great player doesn't just put up points. They elevate the team. They keep the wheels turning. They lift the bench energy. They lead through chaos, not create it. And Angel, she's still stuck in the belief that charisma equals leadership. It doesn't. Leadership is built in the trenches. It's built when you mess up, own it, and hustle back. When you don't get the call, but you still get the stop. When you pull your teammate aside, not to scold them on camera, but to reconnect. And none of that's been on display lately. What we're seeing instead is the classic case of brand over basketball. The signature hair flip, the viral trash talk, the side eyes, the soft launches of merch lines and curated TikToks showing her grinding. And hey, good for her. Secure the bag. Build your empire. No one's mad at that. But you can't expect legacy if you're not delivering substance. You don't become a legend because you were the most marketable. You become one because you dominated. And domination requires details, discipline, fundamentals, which, again, are all suspiciously missing from Angel's game right now. Let's go back to the turnovers, because 9 is insane. You don't get to 9 by accident. That's not just a few bad passes. That's systemic. That's a player who doesn't know where her teammates are, who doesn't know when to slow it down, when to reset, when to stop playing hero ball. You can almost hear her thinking mid-play, like she's trying to turn every possession into a viral clip. And when that's your goal, you lose the game. Basketball is not a highlight reel. It's a rhythm. And right now, Angel Reese is dribbling out of sync with her own team. There were moments, painful, glaring moments, where her teammates literally avoided giving her the ball. Not because she's bad, but because she's become unpredictable. A human turnover machine. And in the playoffs, or against actual title contenders, that'll get you benched. Fast. And if the coaches aren't willing to sit her now, when it's obvious she's hurting the team, what does that say? Are we prioritizing development? Or are we prioritizing a marketing strategy? Because let's be honest, a lot of people in the league want Angel to succeed. She's charismatic. She's bold. She's a ratings machine. But if they're shielding her from criticism in the name of visibility, they're doing her and the entire league a disservice, because fans are smart. They can see through inflated stat lines. They know when a rebound is just a missed shot you got back, because nobody boxed you out. They can tell when a double-double is just noise if it didn't help your team win. And worse, they're starting to turn. What used to be fun-loving banner online has become mockery. Clips of her flop are now stitched into reaction videos. Edits of her missed layups have been set to circus music. It's brutal. And while that level of hate isn't fair, it is telling. Because once the public narrative shifts from rookie with promise to liability on the floor, it's hard to get that back. Especially if you're not willing to change. And Angel Reese doesn't look like she's changing. She's still showing up with the same swagger. Still posting inspirational captions after games where she got cooked. Still giving off that I'm unbothered energy while the league quietly starts building game plans around her weaknesses. There's still time. She's still a rookie, but the clock is ticking. And if she doesn't start doing the work, and we mean real work, not vibes and IG workouts, then that clock's going to run out faster than she thinks. Because here's the truth. Charisma will get you drafted. Hype will get you followers. But only basketball will keep you on the court. And as of right now, Angel Reese is dangerously close to being remembered more for her TikToks than her trophies. So what's next? Does she take the criticism seriously? Does she go back to the basics? Watch film. Improve her decision-making. Build actual chemistry with her team. Cut the turnovers in half. Stop forcing every play like she's trying to make a highlight mixtape? Or does she keep leaning into the spectacle? Because here's the difference between legends and footnotes. Legends listen. Footnotes scroll past the feedback. Right now, Angel Reese is at a crossroads, and the league is watching. Her fans are watching. The haters are definitely watching. The only question left is she? Say what you will about Angel, about her footwork, her flops, her frustratingly inconsistent game. She's got something you can't teach. Presence. Star power. The kind of aura that makes cameras follow her, whether she's dominating or detonating. The problem is, right now, that star is flickering. And everyone, fans, critics, teammates, coaches, is just waiting to see if she can stabilize before it burns out completely. And let's be honest, the media wants her to rise. The WNBA needs more breakout personalities, more household names, more women who don't just play the game, but own the spotlight. But here's the uncomfortable part nobody wants to admit. You can't PR spin your way through a box score. You can't out-talk bad defense. You can't go viral enough to cover up 9 turnovers. You can't rebrand poor shot selection. You have to get better. Period. And you can see it in the body language of her teammates, how they've started adjusting their spacing when she's on the floor, how the ball moves more freely when she sits, how, when she fumbles possession or stalls the offense, they don't rush to uplift her. They just reset quietly, like they're working around an inconvenient truth. That truth? That the player they were told would lead them might be holding them back. That's not an easy pill to swallow, especially for a locker room that's trying to build trust. That's trying to create momentum. Because every time Angel Reese lobs an off-balance jumper into the ether or commits another unforced turnover, it's not just a bad possession. It's a vote of no confidence in the system. And if you're a coach, what do you even do? You bench her and you're the villain. You let her play through it, and you risk losing the game and the locker room. It's a no-win situation, unless Angel takes control of her own development. Unless she decides to put the game first, before the brand, before the noise, before the narrative. The frustrating part is that it's all there. You can see flashes of it. The physicality, the tenacity, the occasional offensive board she rips down like she's angry at the rim itself. She has a foundation of a dominant player. But you know what separates raw potential from actual greatness? Humility. Not the Instagram caption kind. The real kind. The kind that shows up at 6 a.m. when no one's watching. The kind that accepts criticism without tweeting cryptic quotes later. The kind that understands that maybe, just maybe, you're not quite the player the media said you were. Yet, the WNBA doesn't need another viral moment. It needs impact. Real measurable impact. On defense, in ball movement, in hustle plays, in winning. And here's the brutal irony of it all. Angel Reese could absolutely get there. She could be the double-double machine with elite rebounding instincts, physical post-play, and a revamped mid-range shot. She could be the defensive anchor her team desperately needs. She could even become the leader everyone assumed she already was. But right now, she's stuck somewhere between hype and helplessness. And the fans? They're not dumb. They're not cruel. But they are paying attention. And attention is a currency that burns fast when you're not backing it up. You can feel the shift already. Supporters turning into skeptics. Stands going quiet. Comment sections that used to be filled with fire emojis now filled with side eyes and timestamps of her worst plays. It's not hate. It's disappointment. Because they wanted to believe. They wanted her to be that girl. The one who walks the walk after talking all that talk. The one who silences critics with her game, not her Twitter fingers. And now, we're all sitting here, watching the slow-motion identity crisis play out in real time. So what does redemption even look like for Angel Reese? It doesn't look like a flashy comeback game where she puts up 20 and 15 and drops a mic at the press conference. It looks like control. It looks like 3 turnovers instead of 9. Like boxing out instead of chasing a stat. Like finding the open shooter instead of barreling into a triple team. Like choosing a smart, clean pass over a SportsCenter highlight that never lands. Redemption is not always loud. Sometimes it's boring, quiet consistency. The unsexy kind of growth that doesn't trend but wins games. But can she do that? Can she strip away the noise, the narrative, the pressure, and just focus on being better? That's the real test. Because if she can, if she humbles herself, locks in, and stops trying to prove the world wrong with every possession, she might not just salvage her season. She might actually become great. But if she can't, if she keeps doubling down on facade, if she keeps prioritizing the brand over the box score, if she lets every critique become a personal attack rather than professional challenge, then we already know how this ends. Another player with potential, drowned by hype, a cautionary tale. What could have been with good PR and empty stat lines. And let's be real, Angel Reese deserves better than that. But she has to want it. For real, no one's rooting against her. In fact, most people are rooting for the idea of her. That raw, unapologetic, game-changing force that she could become. But that version of Angel doesn't come from TikTok edits or courtside cameras. It comes from grind, from accountability, from walking into the film room and saying, yeah, that was on me. Let's fix it. So, Angel, if you're listening, we don't want perfection. We want progress. You've already got the spotlight. Now it's time to show us you can handle it. Because this league, it waits for no one. When you're the moment, people don't just celebrate your highlights. They study your mistakes. They don't just cheer your wins. They dissect your losses. They rewind your turnovers. They quote tweet your misses. And if you're not built for that heat, if you're not ready to carry all that weight with grace and grit, the very same spotlight that made you glow will melt you. And right now, we're seeing the meltdown. Not the loud, dramatic kind. No waterworks or walkouts. It's quieter, slower, more insidious. It's the erosion of belief, not just from fans, but from her teammates. her coaches, even maybe herself. Because somewhere deep in all this mess, you can tell she knows. You can see it. The hesitation in her passes. The frustration after another missed layup. That pause before jogging back on defense. It's not just about the box score anymore. It's about the confidence. And when that starts to crack, everything else does, too. But here's where it gets real. This is a turning point. Right here, this exact moment. After the worst game of her career. After being dragged across the internet like a meme in sneakers. After fans, haters, and even casuals start whispering, maybe she's not built for this. This is where a star either steps into their power or fades into footnote territory. Because all the branding, all the media grooming, all the college clout and charisma, that'll get you in the room. But staying there, that takes evolution. Angel Reese cannot play the same way she did in college and expect WNBA level success. The game is too fast, too smart, too cutthroat. You think veteran defenders are going to fall for the same head fakes and soft spin moves? You think seasoned pros are going to give her the paint just because she talks a big game? No, this is where the real work begins. And ironically, the worst game of her season might be the best thing that ever happened to her, if she lets it be. Because sometimes the flop is a wake-up call. Sometimes the embarrassment is a fire. We've seen this before. Plenty of rookies walk in thinking they're ready for the throne, only to get humbled fast. But the greats, the true greats, they take that L and study it. They break it down. They own it. They don't clap back on social media. They don't subtweet the coach. They don't blame the refs or the haters. They get in the gym, they watch the film, and they work. So the question is, will Angel? Because here's what's wild. The raw material is there. She's got the size, the motor, the aggression. She wants it. You can tell. She wants to dominate. She wants to prove the doubters wrong. She wants to lead, to shine, to make headlines for the right reasons. But right now, she's stuck in a loop. A pattern of bad habits, shallow plays, and empty stats. And that loop, it'll kill your potential faster than any Twitter troll ever could. The truth is, you can only ride charisma for so long. At some point, you need a left hand. At some point, you need a jumper that isn't a prayer. At some point, you need to box out instead of chasing the ball like it's a TikTok dance challenge. That's the difference between buzz and legacy. And let's not pretend this is all on her, either. Her coaching staff, they've got some hard questions to answer. Why are they not adjusting the offense to minimize her weaknesses? Why are they still letting her take fadeaways and force isolation sets when it's clearly not working? It almost feels like they're caught in the same trap as everyone else, afraid to course correct because of who she represents, not how she's playing. But guess what? You don't build champions on symbolism. You build them on structure, on tough love, on uncomfortable accountability. And Angel Reese? She doesn't need more cheerleaders. She needs a system that will challenge her to level up. Because if she does, if she dials it in, tightens up her game, plays smarter, moves with purpose, then she becomes unstoppable. Seriously, imagine a version of Angel Reese who protects a ball, makes clean decisions, boxes out with intention, and finishes through contact with control. That version, she doesn't just trend on Twitter. She takes over the league. But we're not there yet. Right now, we're in the messy middle. The awkward phase where potential meets pressure, and not everything fits the narrative. And that's okay. That's necessary. Because the real test of a star isn't what they do when everything's going their way. It's what they do when the world starts laughing, when the camera catches them slipping, when the noise gets louder than the applause. That's when we see who's really built for it. So what'll it be, Angel? Will you keep playing for the camera? Or will you finally play for the win? Because the moment you stop trying to be the face of the league and start trying to be its most feared player, that's when everything changes. And until then, the spotlight's still yours. But so is the responsibility. All right, your turn. You've heard the chaos. You've seen the clips. You've felt the drama. Now drop your take. Is this just a rough patch in the making of a superstar? Or are we watching the limits of hype finally catch up to reality? Sound off in the comments. What would you say to Angel Reese if you could? And make sure to subscribe, because we're not done watching the story unfold. We're just getting started. Because if there's one thing the WNBA always delivers, it's drama, and this season, it's straight fire.